And now I have the honor to invite my colleague, friend, and now partner here at Hyderabad to share with us also one of very, very interesting program and initiative. So please, Anat,
Thank
over
you,
to you.
Vered. Hello, everyone. My name is Anat Bernstein Reich. I'm the president of Thai Israel, not Thai Hyderabad.
No, but yeah, of course. But now we are partner because the partnership between three of us.
So later today, we will talk about our INIS program, is India-Israel initiative in the agriculture food space. In this part of the Thai Sustainability Summit, I would like to put the focus on another initiative in the agriculture space, which was initiated by myself and Mr. Rohtash here with us. Our panelists today are, in addition to Mr. Rohtash, my co-founder of the AgriBator Technologies and chairperson of EM3 Agri Services, we have also Mrs. Tami Shor, COO of Ndrip Technologies from Israel. Actually, but for you, Mr. Mal, and myself now in Hyderabad, the rest of my panelists are from Israel. We have Mr. Moshe Porat, Vice President in Tevel, Aerobotics, and I'm waiting for Mr. Simcha Shor, that if you can assist him log in. He is the CEO of Agro Scout. And if you could check in the background, where is Mr. Shor, I'll be happy. This session is about Israeli, India, agriculture. And I'd like to start with you, Mr. Mal, if you can tell us a bit why the AgriBator and why EM3. I mean, EM3 is the mother or father, as you'd like to call it, of the AgriBator. So if you can tell us, give us a small background to what you're doing.
Thank you, Anat. You mean what we are doing. Okay. Firstly, my apologies for being late. I just couldn't get through. I'm up in the mountains, and well, I had a lot of internet difficulty, but we are fine now. Anat, to your question about the AgriBator, a little background. I've been in touch with Israel for all of 15 years. My next visit, hopefully, should be my 15th visit to Israel.
It's good that you're still counting. I stopped counting my India trips.
I know, but I count because they haven't been enough. So the AgriBator was born over a dinner discussion between Anat and myself. We felt that there was an amazing, and this was at Tel Aviv port, if I remember correctly. The idea was that there was a surplus, a surfeit of technologies in Israel for the Indian farm. Simultaneously, the Indian farm was woefully short of deployment of good technologies on the ground. And the idea was born that we need to create a highway to India. And we've been at that for a couple of, well, including COVID, we've been at it for about 2 years. Actually, we've been at it for about a year or a little more. And so far, 4 different firms, one of them is represented on the screen. Tami is here from Ndrip. 4 Israeli firms have found their way, and we are obviously going to increase that. I'm up in the mountains north of Delhi to look at opportunities for horticulture and the absorption of Israeli food technologies, preservation technologies, shelf life enhancement technologies. But to go back, this journey actually started with EM3. This happened post my corporate life. And we decided to do something about the woefully low mechanization levels, technologization levels of the Indian farm. And we got EM3 Agri Services going with a very simple idea that India needed a taxi service of agriculture. While technologies are developing around us in India and the rest of the world, particularly Israel, the deployment vehicle was very, very low. And therefore, the Indian farmer, the smallholder farmer, for whom I just heard a lot of comments as well in the last few minutes, the technology reaching the hands of the Indian farmer was very low. And therefore, the idea of EM3 is born. We are now currently at about 500,000, 500,000 acre operations a year. And now that COVID is hopefully behind us, we're gathering momentum to go from the current 3 states to about 6 or 7 states in the next 1 year itself. Not merely on mechanization. We are now going to be focusing on deploying these technologies, deploying inputs. We've just signed a partnership agreement to deploy farm level credit so that they can buy technology services on the spot and pay for them on the spot while taking credit to match their crop cycle. So we'll talk more during the rest of the time the panel has together on sustainability and other issues. But that's a
Sure.
quick introduction, Anat.
Sure.
If,
Thank you. Thank you,
that
Mr.
works.
Mal. I'll pass the mic to you, Mrs. Tami Shor, COO of Ndrip. If you can tell us a little bit more about your company.
So thank you very much, Anat, for the opportunity to present Ndrip in here. Ndrip is a new micro irrigation company. I think there is no need to elaborate or explain about how micro irrigation is very efficient in water usage and in saving fertilizers. I think this is already well known. But we were trying to think how come so many years after micro irrigation is, and specifically drip irrigation, is available in the market, still 85% of farmers in the world use flood irrigation instead of using precise irrigation and definitely drip irrigation, which is about only 5% of the usage. And I think that the main reason that we had identified is that to convert, for a farmer, to convert a field that is irrigated by flood to drip irrigation is very, very expensive. You need to lay a lot of infrastructure, you need the pumps and you need the filters, and you need all the rest of the system, which is the cost is very, very high. And also, when you operate a system, there are the energy costs that you have to pay in places that farmers pay for the electricity. So what we did is we invented a dripper with a very unique structure, and it is very, very resilient to clogging, and also can operate in a very low pressure. So actually our irrigation system is a gravitational system. We use the water directly from the canal or from the outlet of the borehole, but our head of the system needs only 50 centimeters of height, half a meter, not half atmosphere, not half bar, half a meter of pressure to work. And this means that the system doesn't need pumps. It doesn't need filters because we take the raw material, the raw water from the canal or from the borehole with no filters. We put them into the system and the drippers work without clogging. So I think it's probably the most efficient, precise irrigation system that there is today. And we're happy to start working in India and showing it to the Indian farmers.
Thank you, Tami. We'll come back to you after we meet the other two panelists that are with us today. We have with us Mr. Ishai Gottlieb, Director of Sales in Agro Scout. Hi, Ishai. Good to see you. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you very
Ishai,
much
if
for
you can
hosting
tell
us.
us about Agro Scout, the amazing solution that we look forward to having you in India soon. So tell us what you do.
So AgriScout basically is a platform that enables the grower or the producer or the agro business consultant in the field to collect data at the leaf level and then actionize it and visualize it in a very easy manner. When you can collect data from the leaf level, you can identify disease such as lead blight, early blight, white mold, powdery mildew, all the fungicide and pests such as Colorado potato beetle, looper armyworms, and a variety of threats on the field soon enough and in a very early stage that enables you to react fast enough and base your decision in agriculture on real and accurate data instead of following expensive growing protocol, which results in saving money and chemicals to the environment.
Thank you, Ishai. We will elaborate more in a minute. I'd like to pass the mic to you, Mr. Moshe Porat, Vice President of Tevel. And if you'd like to share with us your very nice clip, Moshe, about how your system works. I really enjoyed watching it. I don't need it in my garden because in my mango tree, I have only 5 mangoes. So your system will not be useful to me, but I'm sure that in the Indian mangoes and right where you are, Mr. Mal, where you have a lot of apples, this system of Tevel will be very useful. Mr. Moshe, to you.
Anat, thank you very much for this introduction. So Tevel in general is doing autonomous robotics based on the deep AI technology that doing fruit harvesting without any need of to be drone pilot or to be familiar with how to fly drones. I can share a short movie that explain about that. So if I have the right to share this, I'll be more than happy.
Yes, you do.
Okay, just a second. Okay.
Moshe, if you can give us the narration because we can't hear the...
Yeah, because once you share, you have to choose the option.
Moshe, we can't hear the video. We can just watch it.
מה הקטע? תגידי להם להפסיק.
Excuse me? We can't do... Can you stop the video and then...
There's no sound.
Why? I mean, we saw the video and it's amazing what you're doing. But the question, in India, we have enough people. Why this solution is relevant to India? Mr. Porat?
Yeah, you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you please fix the audio? I can't hear Mr. Porat.
You hear me well?
What do you mean?
The lady.
But I cannot hear him. Mr. Porat, I can't hear you. Are you mute?
No, I'm not mute.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now I hear you.
Okay.
So I was asking, and I'll repeat my question. it's amazing solution, but in India we have a lot of people that are seeking jobs. Why this solution is relevant to India?
I think first of all there is the one issue that the farmer has, that currently they don't have enough people to do the harvesting in the short period of time that they have in order to do the crops harvesting. Second, due to the fact that the young generation don't willing to really work in farmer and all this duty, if you bring some technology, especially to fly drones and to be able to bring technology like a playground, and in addition to this, to do the farmer work, the harvesting tool or the harvesting technology, that might be appealing. So I think the combination of two elements is a key element also to India.
Okay. I'll pass the question to you, Tami, or Mrs. Shor. Why India? I know the answer, but I'd like to share it with the audience. Why did you choose to come to India? I know that you are very successful in other markets like South America. What attracts you to India?
So first of all, India is a huge potential for agriculture on a global level. I think that the Indian government already understood that the water issue is going to be one of the most severe challenges to cope with in the coming years. I think that on the farmer levels, I'm not sure how much individual farmers already understand it. I think that the fact that farmers don't pay for water in India, and some of them are in areas that still don't see the shortage, is a barrier for understanding. But we believe that climate change is here and coming in a much higher pace than we imagined in the last years. And it will be very apparent also in India in the coming years. And there will be just no choice. If the Indian farmers will not move to be much more efficient in the water usage, there will be not enough water for everyone to use it. We made an adjustment. So we started to work in America and in Australia, and we were working with large fields. So we made an adjustment for the Indian market to work to have actually smallholder or small farmers systems, so it would fit the Indian market. And we coupled with the AgriBator team to install fields in Punjab. Actually, in this coming season, we are going to install potato fields in Punjab. And I think we already had pilot projects that were very successful in the last season in India. And I believe that what we have here, on the one hand, is saving the water, but on the other hand, for the individual farmer, although we use much less water, the yield comes up very highly. So a farmer can see much more crop in his field than he used to while using it in flood irrigation. So I hope it would, join all the other efforts to make India very successful.
Thank you, Tami. And I'd like to pose the same question to you, Ishai. Why India? And why do you think that your solution is relevant to India? In addition to the fact that I told you so.
So we already engaging the Indian market, but I guess our impact on Indian growers are much more significant comparing to other parts of the world, in the sense of, according to the World Food Organization of the UN, 40% of the potential yield is going to lost because of pest and disease. And if we compare that to the United States agriculture, they only lose 5%. Latin America between 5 to 8%. In India, it's more than 40%, even more close to 50%. So we see the impact very, very significantly by accessing the data to the growers and preventing disease and helping to change the course of the loss of potential yield very, very fast compared to other countries. So this is why we see the difference in the Indian market.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ishai. And to you, Mr. Porat, we are in a sustainability summit. So last question kind of to all of you, why your solution is here to help us for a better sustainability, especially in India?
I think that first of all, there is a huge problem regarding harvesting, because after all the effort that you are doing as a farmer, at the end, you don't have enough personnel in order to do your harvest. So in one hand is to have a tool, a technology that assists you to do the harvesting technology or the harvesting effort, which is the main force or the main expense for the biggest expense to the farmer. The second element is to create additional jobs, especially for youngsters that's willing to go to that don't have any employment or willing to be more towards to work in the farm in agri-tech. So based to bring a technology into the so-called traditional agri-tech. So I think that the combination of two elements can bring additional advantage to the sustainability.
Thank you. So far I asked about why India and sustainability, and I'd like to go back to you, Mr. Mal, and ask you the reverse question, why Israel? I'm sure that you've seen technologies from other markets, let it be New Zealand, Australia, Netherlands, but you chose Israel. So for me, again, the question is obvious, but I want to hear you say that.
Thanks, Anat. While technology is pervasive around the world, I think Israel stands out as perhaps the mother of all technologies, given the distance that you have covered since the late 40s, early 50s, to actually turn a very gray landscape into an extremely green landscape. The other point is that Israeli technologies are not made for the small, the small state of Israel. Israel is the size of Punjab and half of Haryana.
We are 9 million
Israel,
for the audience all around the world. Maybe the farmers in India think that we are a huge country, but actually we are only 9 million people. I mean, we are now in Hyderabad, in Kojiboli. I think that this area is about that size. So don't get mistaken.
150, our size is 150 times in population and much more in terms of land area. So clearly, given the range that you have done of crops as well as diverse conditions, India is a very, very good fit. More importantly, India and Israel are strategically very, very aligned in a lot of other areas. And frankly, for the Indian technology, perhaps for Israeli technology, Indian agriculture perhaps offers one of the largest opportunities on the planet across businesses. So clearly, that's a very good fit.
Thank you. I'll share with you one sentence. Yeah. Yes, one sentence that a wise Indian person once told me. He came to Israel and he saw all the wonderful technologies that we have. And he says, Israel is an orphanage of technologies waiting for India to adopt them. And that's exactly what we are doing in the AgriBator. We're taking Israeli technologies, of course, the best, and we adopt them and adapt them to the Indian field, to the Indian farmer, to make it accessible if need be. We will manufacture in India and, of course, bring it to the farmer in the price he needs, in the features that he needs, but still with the stamp of made or designed in Israel for India. I thank all my panelists today. I thank you, Vered. I invite the audience to join us to the next 2 sessions that we have upcoming about Israel. The next session will be about Israel-India energy, and the 3rd session, to start in 1 hour, will be about our INIS program. TAI Hyderabad, TAI Israel, along with Startup Nation from Israel, are initiating a mentorship program, a cohort of 2 years in agriculture and other areas. And I urge all of you to stay with us. We will host the mentors from India for Israeli companies in the food and agri-tech, and it will be very interesting. So don't go to sleep. Those in India and in the US, you have time, so stay with us for our next program. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shor, Mrs. Shor,
Thank you.
Mr. Gottlieb, Mr. Porat, and Mr. Mal. Thank you all. Thank you
so
very
much.
A pleasure.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Anat.
Thank you very much.